gamers, gals, and my non-binary pals. It's your boy, the greatest viewbotter of them all because of my massive partner status and 4 CCV. It's your boy Stevie. And I want to talk about this little topic. It talks about viewbotting. It's the whole viewbotting drama. We have some community sentiment from, of course, Pirate Software and some other VTubers. It's just to talk about the overall viewbotting pandemic that's going on. First of all, question 0. Is there a viewbotting pandemic in general? The answer is basically no. These sort of things oftentimes like come in waves. Here's like a function of time. Like viewbotting is like talked about, and then it's kind of like, then it's talked about, then it's talked about, then it's talked about. It will always be like that for the rest of human history. And that's because like viewbotting is oftentimes this very like topical thing. Whenever a company acknowledges that viewbotting is happening, there will be a lot more community outcry. The reason why it seems so especially bad for like the past couple of weeks, if you are on like content creator Twitter, is because again, we have a much better social media platform and much more like wide breadth, and also because we got the fucking CEO involved. Thanks, bullying on the internet. So, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy says that channels identified as viewbotting will now have their CCZs capped. Viewbotting is bad for our business, we don't benefit, and we believe that it harms the creator system overall. So what does that mean by creator cap? Let's say you're a creator who averages 100 CCV on average, and if you're viewbotting, maybe like they'll take your all-time like highest whatever, maybe like 350, which is like your absolute maximum under like all the best circumstances, and that will be your max if they think you're viewbotting. Let's read this article together. Twitch is introducing a new punishment system for streamers caught viewbotting, with the CEO Dan Clancy saying that the platform plans to cap viewership numbers on channels identified repeatedly inflating their audience with fake viewers. The announcement comes after ongoing discussion with the stream community surrounding Twitch, where this is viewbotting. In a statement shared on today, Clancy says Twitch have been working to improve its detection systems, but admitted the process has been difficult due to viewbot providers constantly adapting to avoid enforcement. Viewbotting is bad for business. We don't benefit and we believe it harms the creator system overall. Under the new enforcement system, Twitch will place a cap on blah, blah, blah. So if you guys are unaware what viewbotting is, it's basically me being like, I want more viewers, and I go to an online site that offers to give me viewers just because it appeals my ego, I guess. I pay them like $100 and I go from like 10 viewers to like 700 viewers or something like that. I wouldn't know the market value of a viewer. I don't viewbot. But viewbotting is very weird. Like viewbotting is the same as like hacking and cheating in video games, in the sense where it's like, again, this eternal game of cat and mouse, where after like one wave of botters is banned, a new wave of hackers and botters using better, more undetectable methods emerge, and the cycle will start like all over again. And if you're wondering, it's like, oh, well, Twitch is stupid or whatever, I don't know how to tell you this, but every company, including fucking Google, will always have some degree of people trying to fuck with their shit. And if every major tech company with infinite money and time can't stop this throughout the history of time, then spoiler alerts, nobody can really get around this. Some issues are fundamentally unsolvable just because bad actors will exist in like every field. Okay, according to Clancy, this will apply on all Twitch verses and be based on the creator's historical non-viewbotted traffic. It will roll out in May, with repeat violations leading to longer punishments over time. There's been a lot of discussion about viewbotting on Twitch, and I wanted to share an update on our rules. It's bad for business, we don't benefit from it, it harms the creator system overall. Effectively combating viewbotting is challenging. As we deploy updates to our real-time detection algorithms, viewbotting companies quickly respond with the updates to avoid detection. Again, it's the infinite cat and mouse. Like sure, we can ban like some people, but we're never gonna like permanently catch all of them. For channels identified presently as viewbotting, we'll apply a cap to the streamer's CCV for a fixed period of time. This cap will be what it's very much like this whole article where it's just like, oh, we're just gonna kind of wipe our hands and put a CCV limit. It's pretty much a nothing burger, because again, they're saying like here where nobody will know outside of Twitch and the streamer, so nothing really happens, at least in the grand scheme of the public. It might make certain sponsors happier in the sense where they can somewhat tell which streamers are viewbotting and which ones aren't, at least like based on like CCV ceilings. But it is, again, like this cop out where it's just like, we can't really fix this issue and we're just gonna stop wasting resources on this. Here's a band-aid. And even if Twitch was public for their reasonings about like banning people or etc., people wouldn't really even believe them or care anyways, just because people are anti-Twitch, and there would probably be like this whole thing where it's like, I earned my viewers organically by paying money to a service or some dumb shit like that. Anyways, that's kind of like the whole thing. It's kind of a nothing burger where Dan Clancy's being like, whatever bro, I give up. Y'all can figure this shit out. So, we've got the big PS, our favorite lolcow, Pirate Software. The more I see the public discourse on this, the less sense it all makes. If Twitch can identify viewbots through historical data, then why can't they strip viewbots instead of just applying an arbitrary cap on views overall? It's because they can. Yeah, we went over this. There will always be viewbotting. Duh. The viewbots that people use are primarily done through embedded traffic on third-party sites. Okay, this is wrong. This is a factually false statement. Again, we have Dan Clancy, who very much is like, while this is an attack vector that we do monitor, embeds only account for 0.37 of total hours watched on Twitch, are not the primary source of the problem today. So again, embeds barely count for any views in general, but also they're not the reason why viewbotting exists. If you guys are like wondering how they could do it, imagine you go to a website like Wikia and a Twitch stream is playing. That is like an embed. That is like an embedded stream, and that will count for a view. The idea is you just put enough of those on enough web pages, and that's kind of how you viewbot. But again, that's just not a thing, or it's not a very efficient thing, or just not a very good thing. We have policies around embedded users and actively detect and take actions against sites that violate them, and we'll continue looking at ways to address this attack vector. Also, do you have any proof that this is like a thing? That this is like an actual attack vector? Anyways, that means real people, real traffic, and real websites, but the stream is in the corner as an ad or hidden as a single pixel. This still counts as viewer and inflates the channel numbers. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something really cool for why this is also just a bunch of horseshit. Here's a really cool thing you can do. Inspect element, console, inner width. So it knows like 1400. Now, let's just do this. Inner width, run that content again. Oh, look, the side changed. Do you think Twitch doesn't know how to apply like basic JavaScript consoles to like an embedded player or to like all the elements on a page? You'd be like, oh wow, that's pretty weird. You should probably look into that. And then they just ban the streamer who's like doing that. You can't spoof that info, by the way. If you're saying like you can inspect element that or like kind of have some spoofer, you can't do that. Obviously, if you like put a pixel stream in a corner or anything, you will be banned. So don't do that. The view capping they are planning doesn't actually fix the issue and will likely paint targets on streamer backs. If someone gets capped, it will be seen as proof of viewbotting, even if it was someone else trying to hit that streamer. We also see tons of people using third-party browser plugins and starting witch hunts over flimsy data, thinking viewers are bots. This just makes it official. The real issue is embeds over anything else. If you want to do anything damage to real viewbotting, then kill off embeds and ship everything back to user traffic in site. From there, you can actually fight this behavior instead of using blanket methods like this. So again, the kill off embeds and shift everything back to traffic on site, that doesn't do anything because congrats, it's just not going to really count for anything in general. Like effectively an inconsequential amount of viewbotting. Like, I'm sorry, bro, but like the old white guy in his Winnebago talking to ABGs on stream is unfortunately a little bit more credible in regards to like his claims on what viewbotting methods are actively used versus lolcow on internet. We have a tweet from Eve that was like really interesting. CCV caps help enforcement, but they do not fix the incentive. CCV became the throne, so bad actors gave it. Okay, we're so close. Maybe the issue lies in the social aspect of looking at a number and saying bigger number, better person. And then everything went off the rails the second I saw this equation. Twitch needs a better primary metric, live discovery quality. LDQ equals novelty times retention, blah, 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 blah. What does any of this really mean? Technically, novelty means distance from what each viewer would be normally find, estimated from follows, categories, viewing graph, and constant. By the way, viewing graph just means CCV. Like I'm sorry, but this just immediately reads to me like, so to prevent a system with a single variable which can be gamed, we will create a formula, all with certain variables that can also be gamed. Like, let's not pretend having better viewbots that stay in chat or having viewbots for specific categories is not a thing. We could just do that. Anyways, in regards to this specific tweet, we have pirate software. It is impossible for the public to verify a claim of 0.37, which makes this post hard to agree with. You are right, Mr. Pirate Software. It is impossible for the public to like 100% verify anything. But also, again, one of these is made by the fucking CEO, who probably has all this information, and the other is a guy on Twitter. One of these claims is at least a little bit more credible. Anyways, it's easy to find services to provide exactly what I'm talking about with embedded stream views through distributed online sources. Again, I'm not saying that this doesn't exist, but it's just so useless to say that this is the primary way when it's just basically nothing. Why is Twitch accounting from any source that isn't a fully authenticated user? It will force viewbotting companies to actually use created accounts at scale that is easier to correlate behavior and shut down. My guy, that is called a fucking follow bot. Also, in regards to fully authenticated users, you can get viewers from people who aren't fully authenticated users. Think of like people who just don't have Twitch accounts, who like to sometimes put on Twitch as like a background app. Think of people who are watching in embeds or other platforms. Think of people who are like watching on mobile, or that sort of thing. There are a lot of reasons that people just don't want to make an account in order to explore like their website. Like, are you telling me that you have a Wikipedia account every time you want to like Google something? Like, no. It's just like not a thing. In the past, I've seen you guys misfire on this entirely, like when you shut down the ad revenue for our rescue streams because you thought our real user were bots. Of course, I'm going to be skeptical of your implementation because your track record isn't great there. Okay, full disclosure, Twitch did definitely fuck up there. Like, misfiring is a real problem, and obviously it sucks when it happens, especially on like charity or like rescue streams. But again, we could also say, can you as a streamer 100% verify that every user in your chat is a bot? Like, if I go to my viewer list right now, am I able to say, like, I know for a fact, I know every single one of these viewers is like a real viewer and not just like a bot? I can't do that. So why are you trying to hold people to this standard? It's just kind of impossible to. Aside from the idea of penalizing streamers for botting by capping their viewership is an absurd way to handle this. You created an incentive for attackers to bot creators to cap their streamers and cause social and economic damage as a result. This isn't a good route at all and will lead to a ton of problems. So what they're saying is, like, if I'm like, wow, I really hate Farfa, I'm going to send a bunch of view bots towards Farfa, and I'm gonna have that fuck him over because now he's gonna be limited at his CCV or whatever. You can say this about like any tool. Theoretically, like any tool that will ever exist, you could say that it can be used to hurt people. If you invent the wheel, you could say that you've invented a new way to torture people. If you invent the stick, you could say you've invented a new way to poke people's eyes out. If you invent the police force, you could say you've invented a new way for streamers to like come under fire because now you can send the police after them after like calling it a fake bomb threat or like swatting them. Like, again, this realistically never happens outside of extremely deranged individuals and communities. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. If you have these bad faith actors and communities that you've cultivated who are demented and deranged enough to act out in such a way against you or other people, you probably have bigger issues that you should probably address. Again, coming after your stream's concurrent viewership is probably like the least impactful way they could harm you. Think about like the dangers of like getting stalked, getting doxxed, having them come to your house, like 500 different other ways that are infinitely more dangerous rather than like, this is kind of annoying because my viewership is capped occasionally and sponsors don't like that. So what is the solution? Well, the actual answer is just don't show CCV. Just don't show it. We don't need it. Unfortunately, that's just like never gonna happen for like a bunch of reasons. But the big ones are like people naturally, when they're trying to decide on something to watch, they're going to move towards the creator with just a higher metric. Like if I'm choosing between like right now on the spot between like Angel Steps or Kathy, I'm gonna click Angel Steps just because she has like the bigger number, and I'm gonna be like, I want to interact with more people because I am a human and I am a social creature and I'm like a little ant that goes. Secondly, we get rid of CCV as a viewable metric, but what if we measured active chatters? Congratulations, people would just buy chatbots, and whatever active chatter metric would just be the new goalpost, and we've reinvented the wheel of viewbotting. Third, people, again, they want some sort of metric to latch onto when they're trying to select content to watch, otherwise they're just shooting in the dark. Let's say I go through the deadlock category. If I don't look at anything and all I look at is like the title, this doesn't tell me anything. If I'm shooting completely blind and I know none of these streamers, I'm probably gonna pick the one with the higher view count, just because naturally this person is probably doing something right with their content. If 2.2k people are watching him, so he will probably have the highest quality stream versus Kyari Caitlyn. Not to say that she's like doing a horrible job or anything, just in the sense of like it's probably a bit more telling about his talent as a creator versus someone who's only maintaining 5 viewers or 300 or 21 or 34 or 188. Now, if you're a creator, why should you care that others are viewbotting? We have all these people like Eve and me and Pyro Software and like Joe Schmo, like 84 or VT being like, oh, viewbotting's bad, viewbotting's evil. Why should you personally care that viewbotting exists? The answer is probably shouldn't. But let's look at like the two reasons. The two core fundamental reasons people care about viewbotting is because it affects clout and it affects money. Clout specifically is in regards to like social issues related to like the bigger number, better person pandemic, where people place such high metrics in regards to their ability to flex a number. You know what, let's just do this. Partner push. What the fuck am I looking? What? Did I miss something? But just look at like how many people have like fucking partner push in their username. Look at how many people are talking about partner pushes. Think about how many people are like doing all this shit just for partner. A badge that basically means nothing. And it's because they want some sort of clout. And again, this is like a social issue that's tied specifically to like the bigger number, better person epidemic. And people kind of get into their heads, me included, of course, where they're like, I have to hit this internal metric. I have to hit this metric. I have to hit this CCV. I have to hit this level of a partner or partner plus or whatever. And if I do not hit that, I am a worse person. And other people are going to collab with people who have more viewers than me. And I'm a terrible person. And I'm a terrible content creator or VTuber or etc. ABC 123. And I should fucking like shut down my channel and fucking kill myself. You should not focus on anyone else. That is like one of the biggest pieces of advice. Do not worry about metrics in this way. Do not try to compare your metrics to anyone else's. Everyone grows at different paces. Everybody has different content needs and wants and audiences. I'm gonna show you guys something that's pretty demented. Back when I was a full-time creator, I made a chart. This is before fucking ChatGPT, by the way. I had to fucking manually do this. I made a chart of every single streamer in the Yu-Gi-Oh category, because I was a Yu-Gi-Oh streamer back then. I made a chart of every single time they went live. MBT goes lives around like these times, Farfa's live these times, Jay Schmidt's live these times, Pax live these times, like Dual Logs is around like this time sometimes. And I'm just like, dude, I have to like min-max my audience retention. I have to min-max my lack of competition with other people. And like Leah said, this is a fucking mental illness. And she's right. It might have helped me like reach a partner like 1 or 2 months faster. But let's not pretend that this was a fucking healthy way of looking at it. You know what I mean? Let's not pretend that like having a fucking ops list on Google Sheets is a healthy way to think or look about content. You're gonna be fucking miserable. You're gonna be miserable if you hover your analytics like this. Like, yes, of course, you should care about what your analytics look like because they'll tell you like what to change and what to do and whatever. But you should, again, focus on yourself and focus on creating like the best possible content that you can personally make. You should do your best to like stay sane. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're a real person and you're always going to be a real creator. And nothing in your life is going to change if Cumsock VTuber decides to do the equivalent of like inspect elementing their bank account to try and flex by purchasing Viewbotters. You know what I mean? Like, just do your best and focus on making the best content you can possibly make by hiring Team Blunder. Also, just to take this into account, Viewbotters are always going to crash and burn. There's like this kind of thing that I kind of heard in like a lecture. It was like a UC Berkeley lecture or something like that. But it's like cheating never works long term. And it's because A, cheaters will never know how to actually grow. And B, if you cheat once and you rely on that as a crutch, you'll have to do that forever. Think about it like this. If you're in kindergarten and you do nothing but cheat through all your math tests and you get into grade 1, and then you realize, even though you're grade 1, you don't even have kindergarten grade knowledge. So you have to like cheat that entire year too, or play catch up and like have to like relearn everything in kindergarten, first grade. Now, let's say you get through first grade. What if you have to get through second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, high school, college, internships, jobs, part-time? Are you saying that you can realistically keep this up for the rest of your life? The answer is no. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you, or new systems will be placed in, and you're going to crash and burn. Yes. Okay. Yes. Like, if you have infinite money, then yes, you can do it. But if you have infinite money, honestly, you're fucking fine. Fucking passing kindergarten is the least of your concerns. The second thing is money. And when we're talking about money, we're not talking about, like, AdSense from, like, Twitch viewers, because that doesn't really fucking exist. We're mainly talking about sponsors. If a sponsor is looking at streamer A and streamer B, and streamer A has 100 viewers and streamer B has 500 viewers, but one of them is view-botted, the streamer with 500 viewers is going to get the sponsor approach, like, obviously, because they're going to see like bigger audience, bigger potential for ROI, sample size, blah 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 blah. This is kind of more of a deep-seated issue, but I will tell you right now, there is not a lot of money in general. If you guys remember, during like 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 to a degree, sponsors during like lucrative times, they will give money to anyone, especially during like these extremely profitable content periods where like everyone and their moms was like a streamer. I literally got a Raycon sponsorship for like a couple $100 for like a deck profile featuring my fucking accountant. Just Brendan Soon, that's my goat. However, when we're in tighter times, such as now, companies are a lot more ROI focused. We are currently in that era. Companies are less willing to experiment with just like, oh, here's like 1,000 creators, go like sponsor them and give them like some amount of money and we'll see which ones have like the best conversion rates. And companies already did that whole experimentation in like the early 2020s for which creators, both big and small, got some amount of ROI. This is why like small creators will sometimes get repeat sponsors, but sometimes they just have a very dedicated audience who are willing to like buy whatever they're selling. Now, personally, you are not losing sponsors as a result result of, sponsors going with bigger CCZ viewers. Sponsors are just fundamentally going with less streamers because they have less money to experiment with. And with bigger creators, they already have a pretty big trusted ROI network. And when it comes to like which influencers give like the best ROI, because again, like these lists sort of get like shared around, where just like Raycon buys a list from like Squarespace, where it's like these are the best creators to work with because they have the best ROI, and then they can spend those money on those creators rather than like just have to like shoot in the dark a lot. And additionally, influencers just kind of cost a lot of money. Think of like the money that goes into like running a Twitch sponsorship campaign. Like these companies at a certain point will just move away from like sponsoring Twitch creators as a whole. Like they will just go to like YouTube or TikTok. Oh yeah, then how come I have no problems getting sponsors? Checkmate, atheist. Well, one, you're a real ass company. Two, you're a real ass company. When I talk about like sponsors of Viewbotting or whatever, I'm not talking about like for like, the average like large scale company like yours. Yours is a very special case. I'm talking about like creators within like the 0 to like 500 viewer range. I'm talking about like Aiden the Destroyer, or like Queenie's Staff, or like Akumura. These smaller creators don't really have much pull in regards to like the larger social sphere. It sucks to hear, but in reality, you were probably never getting these fucking sponsorships in the first place in the modern era. And the best thing you could do if you do want to focus on higher monetization is to focus on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. And if you want to discuss about how you can do that, hit me up at teamblunder.com. Give me the money. But yeah, there is always going to be some amount of viewbotting. There's always going to be some amount of people trying to game the system. And although Twitch kind of pulled like a shitty cop-out method, some of the things that people are saying about it are just blatantly incorrect. And some of the things that people are saying are also just kind of fucking insane. End of the day, viewbotting doesn't affect you. You should not try and compare yourself to others. You should not try and stress out and be like, I have to viewbot in order to get ahead, or like, I will never be a successful creator. Just do your best with the content you can make. Do your best to learn. You will grow naturally. It may be slow, it may be fast, it might work out, it might not. Best thing you can do is just focus on yourself and not to let others try and bring you down. Now, in regards to always cheating, let's do a quick little history lesson. If you guys are curious in regards to how long viewbotting's been around, let's go back a long time before any of us were born. That's right, the 1930s. Now, this is like the golden age of television, where like television first came out and advertising is like on television, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you guys don't know how like TVs work, there will be a station that sends out like signals just all across the airwaves, and your PCs and your television's antenna will just like pick it up, or it's satellite or whatever. Because these stations just kind of distributed it to fucking anyone and everyone who could just pick it up, this would lead to a weird problem. TV stations, they wouldn't really know how many people are actually watching their content because it's, it was just distributed to everyone. So how do you actually measure your actual viewership? Well, you could send out like mail-in surveys or do like studies. Those kind of have a lot of issues in regards to like the population of people who actually will fill those out, or like the sort of responses you can get, because those responses can be kind of limited. At the time, the most accurate method was to conduct like this massive like nationwide survey, and using a sample of what was assumed to be average people, you would send them a box or a device, and it would monitor everything they watched. So if they saw that you were like watching cartoons on like Saturday morning or watching like Channel 5 evening news at night, it would like monitor that. It would send that information back to the company. And that is a company called Nielsen. That is a little media company called Nielsen that is still active today. They sampled all of America. They gave them these Nielsen boxes, and they gave the TV stations the data. And obviously, advertisers will look at this and be like, oh, like Channel 5 gets like 100,000 viewers for the evening news, and Channel 7's midnight news only gets 50,000, so we're gonna go with Channel 5. Obviously, you talk to any TV producer, they're gonna be, oh, but my channel, it's during prime time. My content is already so good. It's already scheduled perfectly. The quality is so high. What can I do in order to improve my statistics? Well, if we can't change our numbers, maybe we can change people. So what they would do, these TV stations would send out like surveys, or like have like people go door to door on what they believe the average American population was like. And when they found people of Nielsen boxes, what they would do is be like, hey man, we'll slide you a couple pennies. We'll give you whatever you want. Just do your best to make sure you're watching Channel 7 news every single night. No matter what you have on, just make sure you have Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7. every single time. Channel 7. Set your TV for channel 7 and let your Nielsen box do the rest. And as a result, viewership manipulation was born. And if you want to know something even funnier, Nielsen ratings are actually being used to this day on Twitch. 100 years in the making. So again, people have been trying to game the system forever. Quite literally forever. 100 years, bro. 100. Do your best to focus on your own content. Fuck people who viewbot. Viewbotters are gonna die in some capacity eventually before we get the new super viewbot. Don't stress too much about it. Make content. Just do your best to make content and have fun. And as Log says, counterpoint, some of these creators are insane and the numbers are the only thing that makes it feel better. Do you really want to interact with these people? If it's your idea of like interacting with communities, being like, wow, I can't wait to hang out with an insane person who only view bots. I have to interact with these people for work. Well, it's your fault for hiring them for glitch stars. Anyways, thank you for watching. I've been Stevie. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the viewbotting scenario down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye forever.